All right, everybody, welcome to Talk the Walk, episode 30.
Welcome. Halloween episode.
It is the Halloween episode. Oh, I need spook music, man.
Spooky, stooky music.
Spooktacular. Let's see, I'll try to find some while we're talking. So we were talking before the show. We were trying to come up with something interesting that we did this week, and I think we both were like really boring and didn't do anything.
Right.
But I have decided that we're going to call this episode the Red Handle Society for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons, yes.
And because it reminds us of the Red Hat Society. Which is that like a local to Anderson thing, or is that everywhere?
I think that is everywhere.
Really? So you can be a Red Hat member, like Anderson chapter,
but
they have like different ones,
right?
Oh,
sort of like
crazy.
the Masons,
but for women with
but
red
for women
hats.
with red hats.
I'm gonna find the Red Hat Societies, because if they are such a then they should have a website, right?
Well,
like it should be
you would
easy.
think they would, yeah.
Let's see.
I've never actually seen anyone from the Red Hat Society.
Yeah, I'm on Wikipedia now. So the Red Hat Society. No, this isn't it. Oh, that's the Red Band Society.
The Red Band Society, yes.
Oh, Red Hat. Here we go. Different Wikipedia page. Red Hat Society. I just saw it said 2014, and I was like, no, they've been around
right,
like way longer than that. Organized, originally founded in 1998 in the United States, women age 50 and beyond. So they do have an age limit. You got to be and a sex limit. You got to be a woman.
You got to be a woman.
50 over 50, and you got to own a bunch of red hats.
And it takes me out of the running.
Yeah, but
I don't have any red hats.
Well, and you're not a 50-year-old woman.
Well, yeah.
In 30 other countries. What the?
Wow.
So there were over 40,000 chapters in the United States and 30 other countries. Holy crap.
Well, they just get together and play bridge and talk about books.
They play mahjong.
Mahjong.
But the Red Handle Society is a totally different club. In order to be of that club, you can be of any age, any sex. The only initiation is that you get your head bashed in by a machete with a red handle by Rick Grimes.
Right.
You know, the Red Hat Society, I used to, whenever I was in high school, they used to come by Sonic all the time.
Coffee?
Yeah, coffee, tater tots. I don't know. I don't know, but it's kind of a sad day. It's kind of a sad day for me, because when I was driving to work today, I saw that they were closing down.
Yeah, I know. I just saw
exact
that.
Sonic. Yeah,
that's weird.
What was your first job? We're gonna talk about The Walking Dead, people.
Okay.
Now, what was your first job?
See, I've got like the best first job story like ever.
Perfect.
And
this
I
is
should,
the perfect
and I
place
should,
for it.
and if I wouldn't have been such a crappy little kid at the time, I should have stuck with it. My first job, I was a craftsman apprentice for a guy, and he was a craftsman artisan, and we made suits of armor, swords.
Oh shit! You told me about this
stuff like that, and
that is the fucking coolest job.
I know, right? we made like one of the first things we did. We made a helmet for like a replica helmet for a museum in Virginia somewhere. It's been a long time. We made a suit of armor for the guy who is the Apple in the Fruit of the Loom commercials.
For the guy, the guy that is the Apple in the Fruit of the Loom commercials. Yeah, with the big
thing. Yeah.
So he
likes
the suit of armor was just in his pastime. It wasn't like for a commercial.
Yeah. No, yeah. We actually made it out of an old car.
Did that guy have like business cards? Like, hey,
Apple.
I'm the Apple guy.
I'm the Apple guy. But yeah,
Steve Jobs? No.
Essentially all I did, mostly what I did was sewed like leather, like for the swords, like the scabbards, and did uniform. We actually did a lot of uniforms for the George Washington, the miniseries movie that was on TV.
What? That's crazy.
But the guy I worked with was he was really, he was weird, like really weird.
That is an odd business to get into.
Yeah, and he was probably I would say he was in his mid-50s when I worked for him, and he still lived at home.
Yeah. Like with his parents
Like
home?
with his parents.
Oh,
And like
how old were his parents?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That'd
I mean,
be like 100 years old.
yeah, and then like he had like a little shop out behind their house.
Wow,
I mean, it was a nice shop, but yeah, I mean, he lived.
that's crazy.
My parents were like, kind of after a while, they were like, this is
It's kind of weird.
kind of weird. We're not sure about this, and then that kind of weirded me out. Then I was like, well, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And then like the next guy that took over for me, he got to be in a movie as an extra.
No,
I was all pissed.
you
so.
barely missed
Right,
it.
barely missed it.
Oh
I was like,
my god! Was he like an older guy, or was it like just another kid?
yeah,
they
he's
hired?
another kid he hired.
Oh my god!
So, yeah, all right.
Well, I was going to talk about flipping cheeseburgers, but that beats the hell out of that.
Right, I mean,
That's crazy.
no, it was an awesome job. I mean, I couldn't do any of that now, but
I was wanting to know if you've reached the turning point where you're seeing the first place you ever worked at closing down.
I worked at a McDonald's one time. But
Yeah.
I wish they would close down.
Are they still open?
Probably. I hadn't been there in forever, but
McDonald's
they should
don't
go away.
they don't usually close often.
No.
I worked at this Sonic, the one that's closing down. I worked there.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm finally
Part
like
of
an
your
adult
youth.
because they're closed. Yeah, it's weird.
Your youth is dying.
Let's see, I had something else I was going to go into and I can't remember
I
now.
don't know.
Oh yeah, The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, the reason we are here.
Let's see. So we decided a little bit of a different format for this episode. We're gonna have a more loose recap instead of like going over
Try to break it,
every little detail. Yeah, we're just
like
gonna,
make it shorter so people don't have to go. Man, that last show
Yeah,
was
we've
2.5 hours long.
We've been doing these like 2.5 hour long shows. Yeah, it's getting crazy, and it takes forever to render whenever I try to export
Right.
the show. But we do have some news. Let's see. So first on the news docket, you found this, but Robert Kirkman has confirmed that it is not all a dream.
It's not an episode of Dallas.
Yeah, so like there's this whole like I don't even need to open the article. I understand what's going on. There's this whole like faction of the internet that believe that Rick never woke up from his coma, that all of this is just a
Coma dream, yeah.
It's just all a coma induced dream. And there's even I saw that someone wrote their own ending to the show, and it was a little weird. I'll tell you how it goes. So they say Rick wakes up and they realize it's all a dream. Only he looks over and the flowers are still dead beside his nightstand.
Mm-hmm.
And then the show ends. Credits. So like the dead flowers would symbolize that
Someone hasn't been changing his flowers.
Yeah. So like even though it's all a dream, they're still within either the zombie apocalypse or some sort of apocalypse. Right. But I would ask, how the hell would he be dreaming about it? And if it were reality, how would he know that it existed to dream about it?
You dream about sometimes what you hear.
What's
on the
around
outside.
you. Maybe he
Yeah.
heard the
Maybe he
commotion
heard-
and things around him.
Yeah, I mean, to me,
Wouldn't be a terrible
And I
ending.
said this earlier when we kind of were talking about it. I was like, that would just be like a big fuck you to everybody that watched the show if they did that. So I can't imagine that would happen. Because, I mean, I think we've talked about other shows in like The Sopranos. Like, I mean, just going to a black screen right in the middle of the
Still
scene.
haven't seen that. Yeah.
Even though people love that show, that ending still has rubbed people the wrong way. And this show is so popular. I mean,
Lost, man.
Lost, yeah.
But
I like the ending of Lost.
Yeah, I do now in retrospect. But the whole dream ending thing, nah, it's
right.
It's,
well, like I said, Dallas, they had that whole
it was
like
a season.
whole season that was a dream.
But Kirkman has confirmed that it is not. It is not in fact a dream. Let's see if there's a quote from him on it. I'll read the quote. And no quote. All right, moving on. Oh, no, wait. It is. There is. He has a tweet.
A tweet.
He just says, "Rick is not still in a coma. The events of The Walking Dead are definitely happening. So alert, people.
Right.
It's based on a true story. It's happening wherever Robert Kirkman is. But Carl and everyone else are all imagined. He actually never found his family. he's been crazy since he killed his first zombie.
He's still sitting in the bed.
So,
Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? He's rocking back and forth somewhere.
I like that. So Robert Kirkman, he after he tweeted the whole thing about how it was not a dream, he says, but it's just that Rick's crazy and that he's just seeing his family. They're not really
That's
there,
good.
like the phone, like picking
Right,
like
exactly.
the telephone. That's funny. I wish the phone had turned out to been like one of those little red phones with the wheels on it.
With
the
the
kids
wheels on
drag
it,
'em around.
right? The little face on it. Answer the phone, Rick.
So in a bit of tinfoil hat, we should talk about Andrew Lincoln's beard.
Yes.
There's a article on Vanity Fair's Hollywood. Why Andrew Lincoln's clean-shaven face has a lot of The Walking Dead fans worried. So basically, this article is talking about how right now, I guess he still has a beard. I mean, I can tell. I mean, in the pictures, he has like a 5 o'clock shadow, but it's not
Right.
the thick beard that we're seeing right now on television. And supposedly filming is still going on. So people are saying, what's happened where Rick lost his beard? Like, at what point
Right.
was he able to shave? And my first speculation, the first thing that pops in my head is this place that Beth is awfully accommodating. It's awfully
Right.
modern looking, I mean,
Maybe they had a razor and some shaving cream.
yeah, what if he was able to shave there, which would mean that they would stay there. He's not going to be like,
Right.
busting Beth out and then like, hold on a second, guys.
I haven't done this in a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shaving things.
Yeah, so like what can we gather from this?
My guess would be nothing, but
Do you think the beard is I think it's a real beard. I don't think it's like a prosthetic.
no, I don't think. I think it's definitely a real beard, but I don't think there's anything to
You
him
just
not
think
having a beard.
one day he's just going to be shaved.
Right. I mean, like he probably had something else, maybe another show or something that he had to be in. Maybe he shaved his beard for that. And I mean, heck, look at him. He could probably grow that beard back in like 2 days. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's saying that Rick's dead or anything like that. I think, I mean, who knows? Maybe they do come to somewhere where they can actually sit down and rest. And he's like,
That's
it's
kind of
like
what I'm thinking.
like, hey, it's kind of like a fresh thing, I mean, some circumstance comes up and he's just like, hey, I want to shave.
When was the last time he shaved on the show? At the prison, I guess.
Yeah.
And before that, at the
yeah.
and right now they're kind of at a place where they don't have the place to stop and rest. Unless
Right.
next episode it could be that he's shaved in the bathroom of the church.
Right. I mean, yeah.
So I mean that's totally a possibility. I guess you're right. I guess it really doesn't read too much into it.
But most people, it's fun to like speculate,
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
To think that they would kill Rick off in season 5 is just.
I think there's a better chance that it makes me think to that sort of hospital facility that Beth's in.
Maybe it's a facial hair cult.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They make all the men shave and they keep them in the refrigerator.
Right.
So at Walker Stalker Con, which was just recently, Greg Nicotero, Norman Reedus, and Andrew Lincoln were all on a panel, and one of the fans actually asked, hey, filming's going on right now. Where the hell is Andrew Lincoln's beard? And so here's they've kind of typed out the quotes from Andrew Lincoln, Norman Reedus, and Greg Nicotero on the subject. And Reedus, I should try to do it like Norman Reedus.
Right.
I'm not even going to try.
Right.
You know what's crazy is I have the beard in a Ziploc bag in my refrigerator. True story.
That's kind of creepy, though,
Yeah, he has the beard in the bag in his refrigerator. Andrew Lincoln, this is for real. He said to me, and he just went, when we did this, are we allowed to talk about that? And then Greg Nicotero, you can't talk about that. And then Andrew Lincoln, whatever happens, like when I die this season, he says, I want Andy's DNA. So there was this whole, banter between Andrew Lincoln and Norman
Right.
Reedus. And Andrew Lincoln jokingly implied Whenever I Die this season.
Right.
And I would say this is a confirmation that he's not going to die this season.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
he's not that stupid.
No.
As a matter of fact, Andrew Lincoln seems to be a pretty intelligent guy.
Yeah. I can't imagine he would. Yeah. I mean, that's not even something you're going to slip. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, I know.
I accidentally told the whole world that I died.
That I'm the main character
Right.
of a huge hit TV show and that I died. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think he's dying. I don't think anything serious is going to happen. But what if it means, you know, in the comic they have the whole like flash ahead flash forward thing, but they're not ready to line that up.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think they're at that point yet. So
Oh God, no, they got a lot to do.
Yeah.
But I was also wondering, what if they were flashbacks? What if they needed to record some flashbacks? And it's easier to make fake beard than it is to make fake clean shaven.
And you know,
They put a bald cap on his chin.
And you know, it's kind of like with what happened last season, where there was like multiple episodes that happened that Rick wasn't even in the show. I mean, he could have shaved his beard for whatever reason, and just knew that he wasn't going to be filming for 2 or 3 weeks or something.
Yeah,
and you know, like you said, he's a man. He can grow a beard pretty quick. And you know, I would imagine that he's got, in just say in the real world, if he hasn't been at least trimming his beard, he'd be ZZ Top by now. I mean, yeah. So, I mean,
yeah, but I'm just talking since the prison though.
Right.
I mean, how long do you think that's been?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
6 months, if that. You think it's been that long? I don't know. They, you know, on the Talking Dead, they broke down how long it had been. They said 2.5 years.
Since the prison?
No, since the show. Since like the whole time. I thought it would be longer than that.
I thought it would be a little longer than that. Because they showed 2 lapses in time between 2 seasons. I thought it would be a little longer than that, but definitely not. I mean,
right.
I mean, that's pretty close. That's kind of on the short end of what I would have guessed.
Right.
I would have guessed just a little more than that. Let's see. The beard thing. I had one more thing I was going to say, but I don't remember.
About the beard?
About the beard. It's sexy. That's it.
Yeah.
No, that's not what it was. But
you know, the crazy thing is looking back at like with everybody, but looking back at season 1, when he doesn't have the beard.
Oh, the flashbacks of season 1.
So much younger.
Oh, yeah. Well, he looked. I mean, him and Norman Reedus both look a whole lot younger.
Yeah, they do.
I
guess the zombie apocalypse ages people.
Dude, it must. I mean, only 2.5 years.
Right.
Oh yeah. So the flashback thing. What if it has something to do with Morgan? So we know that we're going to see Morgan.
Right.
And we have all these questions about what the X is.
Right.
What if there's like a flashback to like show that Rick's been kind of doing it all along, and maybe that's why he had to shave, because they had to show him clean shaven in the flashback.
Yeah. In the sheriff shirt on.
Yeah. That's pretty legit, but we'll talk about that more when we get, because we do have a point to talk about the who's drawing the X's. As a matter of fact, let me put that on the show notes, because I don't want to forget to talk about that.
The X-Men.
Yeah, X-Men. I'll just write X-Men. I know what that means. All right. So, and then third on the news docket, some weird fan gifts. Yeah. So I'm not going to give you all the details on this. It's a very long article about a very short subject. So Norman Reedus, a while back, received a breast implant from a fan. I don't know the story behind this.
Right.
I don't know if it was her breast implant and she got a new one, and they said, well, what do you want to do with the old one? They're joking around with a bit. They're like, it's a paperweight. Ooh, you want to fill my boob? Oh, you know who I want to fill my boob is Norman Reedus.
Exactly.
So I'm going to send it to Norman Reedus. That way I know he's filling my boob every day.
I mean, if you're Norman Reedus and you get a box and you open it up and there's a boob implant in it, is it normal now? I mean, like, it's like, oh, like, there's another one, and throw it in a pile over there, kind of thing.
He's got a pile full of silicone boobs, little silicone blobs.
Right. I mean, like,
maybe that's his life now.
Well, and it could be like, you know, Hey, what do we send Norman Reedus that would be unique?
Yeah, I'm gonna send him my breast implant.
Breast implant. That'll make the news.
I wonder if she just had hers removed or if she had them replaced.
Right. Maybe she was going bigger.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it was just she removed one and they're lopsided now.
Right.
Maybe that's what it's all about. And that way, when people ask her about it, she's like, "Oh, it's because Norman Reedus has my other one.
Yeah,
has my other boob." I don't know, but this article is actually about the actor that plays Eugene, Josh McDermott, who received a butt plug from a crazed fan or a wild fan. I won't say he's crazy.
Crazed.
He may be perfectly sane. Red Hat Society, maybe. I don't know.
Right. Butt plug.
A butt plug, not the type you're thinking, not the like sex butt plug. This was from a mortician, and this is actually the device that they use to plug the butt hole of dead bodies.
I didn't know they did that.
Now you do.
Now I do.
I'm here to educate you.
Right.
I mean, how do you think?
It's like a wine cork.
Yeah. Yeah, is it cork style?
Right?
That's what I want to know. Is it cork style or is it like?
Yeah, I mean
like Staples, like Glad's bag style. You know what I mean?
How big is it?
I don't. How big does it have to be?
I mean, like, did he get it and go, "Oh, look, a wine cork"? He starts putting in a bottle of wine, and somebody's like, "No, dude, that's not a wine cork."
Who would be around him that would know what it was?
Wow,
it had to come with an accompanying letter that said what it was.
I mean, I think I'd rather get the boob in the mail, actually.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about this from both ends.
Right.
Let's see. So
that's weird.
Yeah.
I can't imagine somebody. You know what that reminds me of is oh God, what's his name? In the Adam Sandler movie when he's sitting on this chair putting the lipstick on.
What is that actor's name? He's in
Fargo, and he's in. Oh God, why can't I think of his name?
It's the guy that they're like, he wasn't circumcised.
No. He's kind of funny looking.
In what way? Just kind of funny looking. What is his name? I can't think of it.
I can't think of his name. Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, Buscemi.
So I mean, I can see that the guy's like listening to music, putting the lipstick on, and goes, "I'm going to send him a butt plug."
Only he's putting lipstick on a dead body.
Yeah.
On some dead guy.
We need to ask TJ about this next time we work with him.
Oh, good idea. Yeah,
right?
Yeah. We have an inside scoop on what.
Right?
I wonder if he can get us one.
I wonder if he sent it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know if he likes The Walking Dead.
I don't know.
Dude, if he could get us one, I'll display
Just
it.
Put it right
prominently. There. Yeah.
Nice.
As long as it hasn't been used.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely.
Well, if it had been used, it would have been hopefully it would have been buried. But yeah, so this what was the title of this episode? I'll look it up.
4 walls and a
roof. Yeah. So 4 walls and a roof.
Almost said 4 roofs and a wall, but that would make sense.
It might still work as long as he was on his side.
Right.
Yeah, the 4 roofs as the walls. I mean, what is a roof really other than a wall?
Right. On top.
So 4 roofs and a wall, aka the Red Handle Society.
Right.
This episode kind of shocked me.
Yeah, it was.
The thing I loved and hated this episode. I really liked it. It felt satisfying.
Right.
But it felt odd to me that it was episode 3 of the season.
And Terminus is done.
Terminus is done. Is
right.
over with.
All the build up for the second half of season 4.
And it makes me kind of feel like and I don't want to get completely negative, but was the last half of season 4, the whole half of season 4 was about getting the Terminus. And sure, a lot of important stuff happened. I'm not claiming
right.
that it didn't. But the whole last half of the season, they kept like, on the road to Terminus, like everybody's on their different paths to get to Terminus, and then we get there. The first episode of this season, bam, Terminus is gone. Episode 2,
the termites track him down.
At the very end of the episode.
Right.
They weren't in the whole episode until the end.
Not at all.
And then, episode 3, we kill them all.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
Does that not kind of de-justify the whole last half of season 4? Like, does it not kind of make it feel kind of stale now?
Well, you almost say it's anticlimactic, but it was very climatic.
Oh, it was. It just felt too soon.
Right, yeah. I mean, all of our speculation was that this first half of the season was going to be terminus and probably would end at that point, or at least somehow. And then it would go on to a new story. But it's and then, I think I said last time that I thought that we were going to have 2 different bad groups that were going to be going kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
They ain't terminus, and they haven't even introduced a new bad group yet.
No, we know they're there.
We know they're there.
That's
but
it.
Yeah, I mean, it was and the whole thing about, Andrew West is signed on to do such and such episodes. So we're thinking, wow, he's going to be a character.
Yeah.
And he was literally in 2.5 episodes. 3 episodes.
Andrew West is Gareth.
Gareth.
Sorry. I didn't want to act like I didn't know who you were talking about, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the last episode of 4.
Yeah.
He was in the first episode of 5. He wasn't in the second episode really, except for
the very end,
2 minutes, and then he was
in
about half of this last episode.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I know, right?
And you got to say though, I mean, the dude's a pretty good actor to have established a character in that short amount of time.
Yeah, he was very popular with the ladies.
Yeah, he was. It's dude all over the internet now is Andrew West could eat me.
And yeah, I know. I mean, it's the
sexiest cannibal on the internet.
Right.
Jesus. I don't know. It's really bizarre to me that it wrapped up that quickly. Now, on the other end of that, on the other side of that, Andrew, who's been on the show before, it's been a long time, but Andrew, he messaged me and was like, "Oh, I'm so glad that they ended it like that. Like I couldn't deal with another drug out governor.
Like governor?
Yeah. I just don't get that, dude.
Right.
I think I don't know. I think if you're only a television show fan and you don't, because I kind of have an idea of where they're going to go next after this group that has Beth. And so it's The Walking Dead is almost broken up into these 3 different chapters based on who the villain is at the time.
Right.
And we're already working our way to the 3rd chapter of it.
Right.
And it's
they keep saying that that's not coming for season 9. We might see Negan.
So what are we
going
to do?
5. That's 4 seasons from now. Either that's a long ass walk to Washington, or
they're making up a bunch of shit in between there,
or they're just fucking yanking our chains and saying, "Oh, you're not going to see Negan for a long time," and then he's going to be next half of this season.
I kind of think it's something like that. I don't know that it'll be the next half of the season. I kind of thought that that's who Beth was with, but after seeing I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think these are kind of going a little bit ahead, but I think those people are more of they're kind of experiment, mad scientists, kind of almost like what the governor was doing with what's his name. But
you know what I kind of thought is it's a hospital. They took a young girl. I kind of thought forced repopulation.
Yeah, I thought that too.
They're taking girls and teenage boys and knocking them up. Yeah. And then killing the boys. I don't know what they do with them.
Butt plugs.
Butt plugs.
But yeah, I mean, I loved the way they did it. It was just.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great.
Or the whole tainted meat. Okay, so Stookie at the beginning of the episode is the Gareth is talking to him and all this stuff, and Stookie starts what you think is crying, it turns into a laugh. And they're he's going crazy. And
when he
all
started
this stuff.
laughing, I knew that we were
too.
right. Yeah.
And then, he pulls a thing down and he's like, I've been bitten, I'm tainted meat and all this stuff. And they're puking. And then Gareth's like, we cooked them.
Yeah, we cooked them. Don't worry about it. Everybody's freaking out.
But so the speculation was it was going to be like the Hunters with Dale and that stuff.
Yeah.
And that was kind of weird too, because they threw that in there, but it didn't mean anything.
Well, a lot of people said that it didn't mean anything, and it kind of, Andrew, what is his name? Andrew West. I want to say Adam West. Andrew West said on the Talking Dead that they had planned on bringing Stookie back to the church all along.
Right.
And I realize he's way closer to the show than I am. But I don't necessarily think that's true.
I don't think it was either. I think that was a result of that.
I think so too. I think because they found out Stookie was tainted meat, they didn't want to continue eating him because they didn't know what was going to happen.
He even said in that, like when he's talking to Stookie, he's like, I'm gonna pick them off one by one, and we're gonna eat them.
Yeah.
I think that.
I think they were planning on eating the whole thing.
Yeah,
eating all of them.
Yeah, I don't think that was. They could have. It was kind of messed up that they would eat his leg and then give him back, but they could have. They didn't necessarily have to do that. They could have just made themselves known, done whatever, and then send him back.
They could have cut his other leg off and then sent the rest of them back, and then they at least would have had another meal out of it,
right? They could have just sent his foot back,
and
kept him. So
true that, yeah. I think that the events of this episode happened because Bob Stookie was tainted meat.
Right.
They brought him back. He informed the group of what had just happened,
and I think they did kind of plan that. I think the Terminus people did kind of plan. I think they knew that when they took Stookie back that they were to come after. Obviously, that's why they were waiting in the woods.
I think it came to a head at that point. I think,
and one thing that Gareth, he's obviously a very charismatic guy, but he's smart. But I think he thought he was smarter than he.
Oh yeah.
I think at this point he was like, I'm undefeatable. I'm untouchable.
Yeah.
And that's what got him in trouble.
Yeah.
Because he didn't, think it out as much. But that was a great scene though at the beginning.
Yeah.
The dude like puking his guts out, and
I thought it was going to come up though. So
yeah,
I see the criticism on the episode about how it seems like it was pointless. I totally see that. I don't think it was. I just think it was a little more subtle than it should have been.
Right.
But I thought whenever I saw that scene, I thought, well, what's probably going to happen is because we know that, say for example, Stookie and the guy in season 1 that they left leaning against the tree. We know that people can get infected and just be sick for days.
Oh yeah.
And then not, turn necessarily. And so I was thinking this will probably give them flu-like symptoms.
Right.
Hashtag Ebola. And then they'll just kind of slow down.
That's what I thought too, that they were going to kind of start getting sick and then they were going to get irrational kind of thing and go after the group, and that was kind of.
But that's not really what happened.
No,
they really didn't play on that at all. For all we know, if they hadn't have died that same night, that would have happened.
Right.
But I think the main point is just that, because it happened, because they ate tainted meat, and they obviously don't eat tainted meat,
right?
Because they eat a lot of people, and they make it a point not to eat tainted meat. That I think that they made the decision to go ahead and move forward with the plan.
Earlier,
yeah, and it also gave our group the advantage because Stookie came back and said, "Hey, these guys are staying at this school and all this kind of stuff." Well, anyway,
right.
So that was a tainted meat scene at the beginning, and it was pretty crazy,
right? And then so obviously they discover that he's missing, and Sasha's out looking for him. She runs into the zombies.
We saw the sneak peek.
You see. She sees somebody off in the distance and she knows they're being watched. Then Rick, rescues her and stuff, and they go back in, and she basically confronts Father Gabriel, what she's like, I know you're lying about something. There's something you're not telling us, blah blah blah. And we kind of speculated about this last week about what you'll burn for this thing, and we said,
locking people out,
and that's that's what he says. He's like, and it's kind of like when he explains it, I got the feeling that he was trying to say it wasn't his fault because
he kept saying, "I always
lock the doors.
I always lock the doors at
but
night."
he didn't unlock the doors when they were out there.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if the doors was locked and he hears those people out there, he still didn't let them in.
Yeah. Not only that, but it kind of, to me, whenever he's telling her that he's telling her this story, it kind of reminded me of when Eugene's telling everybody that he knows what the cure is.
Right.
You know, like it's like
he's telling you the truth, but there's something not right about it.
He's not telling you everything.
Everything. And here, the other thing I was thinking about in that scene. Okay, so he says that he locked the door at night, and then the people came, and he heard there were women and children and whatever. So my question was, who the hell was outside carving "You'll burn for this"
while they're being eaten alive?
While they're being eaten alive, surrounded by zombies.
I thought about that too.
I was like, and then obviously, it kind of ties in with the walker that was in the basement. I guess he turned her away too, in essence, and she went there, looking for a safe place. And
he turned her away too, and she was someone that he obviously cared about because he had a picture of her.
Right. And so now, I mean, is there more to him? Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that. I mean, my guess is that again, like with the Terminus, I think the church thing is basically going to be over. I think, obviously the other group left. I'm pretty sure Rick and their group is going to probably leave in the next episode, going after Beth and Carol and all them. So I mean, and he's going to go with them. I mean, he's not just going to be in 2 episodes. So, I mean, I think he's part of the group now.
I don't know. I believe he's I know he's the main character in the comic. I don't really know. I don't really know to what extent.
Right, but so I mean, I think I think that his confession was, again, I think it was real, but I still think there's more to him that he's not saying. And so we'll see, I guess, coming up.
Yeah.
But and then after that, they.
I still just think that and again, we might be. I was saying this when we were at lunch today. We might be like doing the whole Lori conspiracy that we had going all over again, and maybe it really is. That's all there is to it. But I just really feel like A, he's not telling the truth. B, we still haven't gotten answers as to what those places were in season 4,
right?
That were like the perfect like the Grove and the mortuary,
right?
And this place just seems similar to that, and
I'm
still waiting on an answer, and maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe there's just still places out there like this, but it just seems unlikely and too perfect.
Well, again, like,
and then Beth was taken at one of them,
right? And then, so if you think about it geographically, all this stuff is
somewhat in the same area,
and it was obviously that church was close enough to where Carol and Daryl found that car and saw that car drive by. So how did this guy live in this church for 2.5 years?
Yeah.
And nobody ever saw him?
Yeah.
Or even these people, even just by happenstance, you would think that they're going to go out looking for supplies, and at some point they're going to run across this church.
Yeah.
I mean, he has had to have had some kind of contact. Even if he didn't start, even if that story was true, what he did,
I think it was
at some point, something else has happened. He has had to have come in contact with somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also think when we get down, well, we can probably just talk about this one scene. At the end of the episode, after all the other events happen, and there's the scene with Michonne and Father Gabe on the porch.
Mm-hmm.
And Michonne is sitting there with her sword, and he comes out. I can't remember exactly how the conversation went, but they mentioned something about like the way things are now, and she tells him something about how you won't forget hearing them. You won't think of it all the time, but you'll never
forget the screams and whatever.
Yeah. And it kind of made me think of how Michonne picked up the sword and became that person.
Right.
But she wasn't before the outbreak.
Right.
And I again, I don't know Father Gabriel's backstory just because I didn't read that section of the comic. I never read this far in. But I wonder if Father Gabriel is somehow like he picked up the story. Like, what if he's not actually
A father.
a father? Yeah. Like,
Right.
what if you know, he may have been involved in the church, he may have been involved, and then he just was the last remaining person,
Right.
and picked up that, you know, and is living that life now, even though it's not accurate.
Isn't it that like his little whatever you call it uniform?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it's pretty clean for being 2.5 years.
yeah,
I mean, I've thought of that too. Like, I mean,
yeah,
because like with Rick was a sheriff. He wore his uniform for part of season 1, and then it was
Yeah.
like, you know, that world's over. You know, is this guy really maybe he's wearing that now. Maybe he is really a preacher, but
Maybe
he's trying
he's-
to hold on to that last vestige of.
yeah. Maybe the comparison on the porch is the opposite of what I'm saying. Maybe it's that he did hold on to it, and that she is somebody new now.
Right. And you know, he may have done these horrible things, and he can't let go of, maybe if he thinks if he lets this one last thing go, that, you know, who he is, it will be completely gone forever. You know, I'm kind of interested to see what his real deal is, because I really do think there's more to him, because I don't think he's just going to like all of a sudden join the group and just be, you know,
yeah,
the new Stookie that's just kind of tagging along with
yeah.
him. So yeah, I mean, will he be a long term? I don't think so either.
I don't know.
But I mean, yeah, it
They
could be.
do that on this show where like people we don't think are going to stick around do. You know,
Right. Well, we've said since the Abraham and them have joined the group that Rosita was going to die.
she still ain't
She's
died.
still around.
She still ain't died.
Um,
She totally will die this season.
Oh yeah, she's dying.
Yeah, I don't know. Father Gabriel is a tricky thing,
Right.
and I don't know where to rest on it yet. And I'm determined not to go and look at,
I know
at his story. Yeah,
I've been so tempted to be like, I could just bring up the Walking Dead
Yeah.
Wikipedia page and just be like, oh, okay.
I want to
there's
start reading the comic again though. I read up to the farm, and the farm is only like 1 issue. It's like maybe 2 issues. And I read past that, and then there's at some point where they changed artists or something, and I think I quit around the same time. Not because I was like, oh, screw this artwork, but
guy
it just
sucks.
it just happened to be. And then the show came out, and now I'm caught up with the show, and I
Right.
know what happens after the point we are in the show just from researching it for the podcast. I stumble
Right.
across things and things like that. But I kind of want to go and read the was it All Out War or
All Out War,
something to Fear or something like that.
Yeah.
I kind of want to read those arcs. And then now it's kind of like a whole new, like you can pick
It's like
it up
a new world,
and it's
yeah.
not connected to the show.
Right,
It's- It's way in the future. I think I will definitely start reading from there.
Right.
Just because I feel like it's kind of a jumping on point.
Right.
But yeah, I kind of want to go back and read it, but at the same time, I don't want to spoil the show.
Yeah,
So it's
no,
weird.
that's-
But yeah, I'm totally fishy on Father Gabriel. But let's see. Then we have the scene where they bring Stookie back.
Yeah, Stookie's all of a sudden
The Stookie's
outside,
return.
laying in the grass with his half leg. They bring him in, and of course, you know, everybody's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
and you know, do you think like at that point Rick was like, "Yeah, I told y'all so. Should have gone back and killed him."
Yeah, dude.
So you know, obviously, you know, Stookie's like, "Hey, it's them. They ate my leg."
He
And
doesn't have an accent.
right, and then like and then he kind of nonchalantly is
What's
like,
that all about?
"What's that all about?" Then he, you know, finally tells Sasha that, you know, he had been bit, and everybody's like, yeah. "Oh no."
Yeah, Carol just walks over and goes, I'm
Uh,
going to have to burn him alive.
Come take a hop and walk with me, Stookie. So, you know, they have the whole, you know, the emotional Sasha's in love, and, you know, now, you know, she knows that he's going to be dead for too much longer.
Yeah.
And, you know, Rick decides that, you know, it's time for action. that they need to go, take care of these people.
Yeah.
And he finds out that, they're at a school, and he questions Father Gabriel about it. Says, yeah, it's like a 10-minute walk through the woods and stuff like that. And so this comes down where, so Rick is like, we got to do this. And so Stooky's like, hey, they said that they're going to take all of us out and they're going to eat all of us, kind of thing. And so Abraham's just like, well, we're getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to save Eugene.
He's so damn worried about Eugene.
Right.
Yeah.
And, and they made a good point in that too. They're like, dude, it's the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Why are you going to leave now?
Do you think you're going to be any safer leaving now than in the morning?
And so, I mean, we kind of talked about this too earlier. It's like this whole thing between Rick and Abraham wanting to leave and them going back and forth about this stuff, it just seemed really weird. I mean,
it was. Yeah.
So in the grand scheme of things, Rick has the plan and it works. But essentially in that one night, they took out the termites.
Yeah.
And there was no need for any of that stuff.
Like, why was Abraham so worried about like 6 people?
Right.
And like it not only that, but like
they just escaped from Terminus where they killed like twice that many people and walkers.
I don't want to move on from this though. How cool was it whenever the Terminus people brought back Stooky and they painted the A on the side of the church?
Yeah, no, that was awesome.
Oh my God, that was sick, dude. That was crazy. That was like Breaking Bad moment. That was good.
I don't think anybody saw it either. Because when they walked out, they walked straight by, and it's like right there, and I'm like, oh shit, look, there's the A, and like no one turned their head and looked. Yeah. Because I was waiting for somebody to go, oh
my God. Yeah, I know.
So yeah, I mean, and the whole thing where like, okay, so Rick's like, no, we're gonna go get him. Abraham's like, no, we're leaving. Rick's like, well, you're not taking the bus, and Abraham's like, you gonna stop me? And then like,
I was like, what if Rick just goes, boom?
I was sitting there looking, and all I could think about when that scene, because he said, "Are you like Abraham says, are you going to stop me?" And then like there's this like whole like 10 seconds where nobody says anything, nobody moves. Rick's just looking at him.
It is really still,
and I'm like, this is like an Old West like draw. I was waiting for them both to go, Gah! And then Rick starts walking forward. I was like, uh-oh, here it comes. Yeah. And then, Glenn jumps in between. And then, like, the whole thing's like...
well, before this, they had all agreed that they were going to go.
Yeah. They'd all agreed they were going to go to Washington.
Before Stooky even disappeared. Yeah. That was the last episode.
That was the last episode. They'd all agreed that they were going to go. And now, all of a sudden...
I forgot about that.
Abraham's like, we got to go. We got to go. Now. We don't have time to deal with this. And then Glenn's like, if you stay and help us, we'll leave with you. Or no, I think Abraham says, we're taking them. And then,
oh, he does say something about he wishes that, like, I don't think he's like forcefully saying we're going to take them, but yeah, he does acknowledge Glenn somehow and says we'll
we stay. Yeah, they'll come with us.
And then Glenn and Maggie are like, yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, and Rick's like, and then Glenn's like, it's not your decision. And then there was like that thing we saw earlier. It was like the last episode. Glenn's like, oh, we're never breaking up the group again. And now all of a sudden he's like,
volunteering to leave. Yeah.
And
but what about Maggie?
But what? Yeah, no, Maggie didn't even like. Glenn's like, oh, shut up, woman. You don't have a say in this. And then and Beth is still missing.
Yeah, does she just assume that Beth is dead?
That's one. I mean, like
it seems weird that Maggie would want to leave without finding Beth.
Right, and because Daryl obviously thinks she's still alive. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And
of course he thought that Sophia was alive throughout the whole thing.
That's true too.
He's just got that kind of faith. Yeah.
Right. And so obviously Glenn says yes, we'll go, and they stick around. And
well, I have the question of as a cinematic, as a TV show, it was obvious that they were going to kill the termites. But if this were reality, like if you're in this group, why wouldn't you just go?
Right.
Like why did they not just get in the bus and go ahead and go?
Leave?
They just didn't want to do it at night. Maybe they don't want to travel at night.
Well, Rick said he's not going to leave without Daryl and Carol.
Oh, that's right. Daryl and Carol were gone. Rick wasn't going to leave without him.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense.
But I mean, still, like, why? Obviously, Daryl and Carol both have become great friends with Maggie and Glenn. Why would they be so ready to leave?
Yeah.
Just to get help.
Now, granted, this is they are under the assumption that they're going to meet up again. They know it's not gone for good.
Right.
Because Abraham is not like trying to get away from them.
No.
He just wants to leave ahead of them. So I mean, there's kind of that. I don't know. I don't know. It just seems really odd to me that Maggie's just so ready to just like
right
not find Beth.
And the thing, and the other thing is too is the whole plan. So at this point they come to agreement, and then you see, what is it? It's Rick, Abraham, Rosita, Maggie,
Eugene,
Glenn that are going after the termites.
Oh, sorry. Not Eugene. The people in the room was Judith, Carl, Tyrese, Eugene. Is that it?
And Father Gabriel.
Yeah, Father Gabriel was in his like little office.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
So that was everybody else was going after the termites.
Yeah.
So that was at least 5 or 6 people, and when the plan came to fruition, essentially it was, and Sasha was with them, so that's 6 people.
Oh, okay.
So, but when it came down to it at the end, Rick killed at least 3. He killed the 2 people at the door and Gareth. Abraham killed 1 person, and Sasha killed the other person.
They showed Maggie and Glenn kind of watching what was happening.
And Rosita all stand there like, oh my God. So essentially, he didn't need Abraham to stick around.
So from Rick's perspective, he could have let him go, but Abraham wanted the bus though.
Right. I mean, it was kind of weird, but anyway, so jumped in ahead there.
I could see Rick's perspective.
Right.
It's
definitely
Abraham that I don't get.
Yeah, I agree. It just seemed like,
I think they just wanted that conflict to happen.
Yeah, I know. It was the 2 alpha males have to butt heads at some point. It was
bound to happen, and if after this they're planning on moving to Washington together, then when would it ever happen again?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you see the group leave to go.
And another thing is, the problem is Glenn and Maggie. I don't understand why Glenn and Maggie went with Abraham. But I understand why, as the writers of the show had to move Abraham along, because if Abraham didn't leave ahead of the rest of the group, then why would he go with them to find Beth? He doesn't care.
No, yeah, he has no stake in that whatsoever.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of makes sense, but the Glenn and Maggie thing, it's just weird that they had them go with them. I don't know, it's weird.
But yeah, so we see them go out into the woods, and then as soon as they went into the woods, I knew what was getting ready to happen. I mean, it didn't take a rocket science to figure out that the termites were going to come walking out on the other side. And
everybody kept talking about that scene. Like everybody was like, because I thought it too. They showed that sign for so long,
right?
That for a split second you're like, oh shit, is the cable messed up? Like what's going on?
My TV's freezing. And so you see them come out and they're like, okay, we're going to break in. And, they kind of yell out, hey, we're here. We know they're gone,
At that point, did you know what was going to happen? I hadn't put it together yet.
I knew that I was pretty sure that was a ploy. I mean, I kind of guessed it.
Because I didn't think they're going to die episode 3.
I didn't either.
I did not think that.
When...
I thought Gareth might go in there and actually like take Carl and Judith or something.
Well, my thought is that what happened was going to happen all except for the Gareth part. I thought Gareth was going to get out or be taken prisoner of some sort.
Yeah.
But I figured that because the way it was set up, there was no escape. There was nothing that the people in the church could do. They were caught. They were dead.
Yeah.
And so
Carl had a gun.
Carl had a gun. And then there's Tyrese, who would have, cowered in the corner.
I don't think so. I still like Tyrese.
I do too.
I still like it. I think that Tyrese, he's still pretty fucking brutal.
I mean,
when he loses his shit.
But it was basically a no-win situation. Yeah. And
I saw a cool comment before we went on the air that said, "Don't threaten Judas, or Tyrese might almost kill you."
And but yeah, I figured they were going to come back. And then so they get into the church, and the two guys are like, they're trying to figure out which door they're behind, door A or door B. And then Judith cries, and they're like, "Aha!" And he's like, "Come out, we'll let the baby live," kind of thing. And
another thing that kind of went through my mind, because they keep showing Father Gabriel, and I was thinking, what if Carl, they bust through the door, Carl's able to take out a few of them, and then Father Gabriel, who you don't expect to do anything, comes out from behind and ambushes a few more of them, and then Gareth gets out or something.
Right.
And I really thought that Carl or Judith might get taken by Gareth, because it just seems like the ultimate upper hand that Gareth could have.
Right.
I mean, even now that like I've come to terms with that it's happened. Like, it's really bizarre to me that Gareth is dead already.
Right.
3 episodes in, man, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
It is so crazy.
But yeah, you see the two guys stand at those doors. And, well, they go to that one door, and Gareth's like, shoot the hinges, and then all of a sudden, bam, bam. Well, not bam, bam. It's silencer. Mm-hmm. Their heads blow up, and then Rick's like, "Put the guns down."
He shoots his fingers,
and then he shoots his fingers off, and that was crazy too.
In the dark.
And then Rick steps out, and at that point. And even Andrew West said it after the show. He said at that point he felt like he was still in control. Like, even though it was just Rick, and then you see the other people come down the sides, and then everybody's like, puts it down. And even then he was like, I still, I think
he could
Gareth
talk his way out.
Could talk his way out of it. He didn't think it was like it was. And so he comes down there and he's like, "Everyone get on your knees." And of course, he goes right down to his knees, and the other people do. And then there's, bloody face dude.
It just seems completely pointless to me that they, like, I don't understand why we needed to know that Tyrese did not kill that guy.
I know, that was
I feel
weird.
like,
and he was an asshole in the church. I was like, somebody shoot this dude, because he just stood there and he's like, we really going to do, he said something like that. We really going to do this, or something like that. And like,
he's like, we got no other choice. And he said something about like, sure we do, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, like, dude, but yeah,
it just seems really weird to me that, like, what does it develop in any character? And I guess you could say, well, develop something about Tyrese's character, but no, it contradicts something about Tyrese's character that they told us. It doesn't really develop anything. So, like, what is the point that Tyrese didn't kill that guy?
Right.
Like, if this scene,
other than internal, I mean, that's the only person that knows anything about this is Tyrese himself.
Yeah, and I don't even think he's in the room at the time. I think he's in there with
he's
Judith.
In the other room with Judith. I mean, he
served no purpose.
He probably saw the guy, eventually when he walked out, and was like, "Yeah, that's the dude." But like, it's not going to be like, "Hey, that's the guy I said I killed."
I didn't kill him.
That I didn't kill, and Carol's not there, and she's the only other person that's seen the dude.
Yeah, it seemed completely pointless.
And it was kind of.
It was a bit of a cliffhanger for episode 2, because everybody's like, "That dude was still alive."
Right.
But I mean, not even that. I mean, the main cliffhanger was that Bob Stuckey got his leg.
Eaten. Yeah. And because everyone's like, "Oh, that dude's still alive," and then it's, "Oh shit, his leg's gone." Forget about that guy. But yeah, so they get down on their knees, and Rick and Gareth is like, kind of like, "Hey, you don't have to do this."
I like what you said about this.
Yeah. he's like, if you can just let me go, you'll never see me again. You don't have to do this. We can not like get along like as in a group, but we can get along in this world and just not. I'm not going to come after you. We'll just call it square kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it, to me that was Rick was Gareth, and
the governor was
the
Rick.
governor was Rick
Yeah.
in that scene at the fence where Rick's like, we can all just get along. There's it's kind of like Rick's character has gone from the guy that wants to get along with everybody to just the brutal guy that's going to do what needs to be done.
Yeah, I like the comparison. I really do, but I don't think it's the same. And
I don't think it's
and I know you agree.
quite the
I know
same,
you agree.
Yeah.
I know you agree. I like the comparison, but the thing is it's like in both scenarios, Rick's still kind of the just one,
Right.
Like I mean, you could say that it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't. I don't know. There's not really many ways around it. I mean, because you could say, well, Rick doesn't necessarily need to kill Gareth. He just needs to get away from Gareth. But the truth is, they already did that once, and it didn't work. So you got to kill him,
And that's the thing. I think, I think, if you go back to the woods, he wanted to go back and kill him. He doesn't.
Yeah.
And,
that is,
he could have left it alone. Gareth could have left it alone. He could have gone. He could have started his own terminus again or done whatever. But he chose to come after them.
Yeah.
And why should Rick trust him at this point? Just because he's got him in a position where he's going to say whatever to get away from him.
Yeah.
Who's to say he leaves him there and then a week later he's right back, tracking them down.
And I don't think that Rick was doing that whenever he was talking to the governor.
No, not
because
at all.
because I think that Rick had so much of Herschel's
right
intent when he was saying that.
And the thing about the governor in that scene is I think the governor didn't want to kill Rick because he thought Rick was a threat necessarily. The governor wanted to kill Rick because he just wanted the prison and he was just going to kill him.
Well, I don't even think that. I think the governor just wanted blood. Like,
right,
I think,
I mean,
like if Rick could have just magically shit out another prison right beside that one and said, "Here you go. This is your prison.
Is yours.
This is ours."
He would have said, "No, I want both."
He still would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
he wanted a war.
So it was. I mean, the governor thing was bloodlust and power.
Yeah.
Rick's was maybe a little bloodlust or revenge.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's.
But it was more pragmatic than just bloodlust. So Rick's like, saying no, it's not going to work. And then like the greatest thing in the whole world is the camera just focuses in on his waist, and you see that red-handled machete, and Gareth sees the red-handled machete.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's when.
That's when I was like, "Fuck, this is gonna happen."
That's when you're like, "This is gonna happen," and that's when Gareth knows that there's no talking out his way out of this. This is the promise, and I mean, it was brutal. I mean,
I love the scenes of the filming of it.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of Rick holding up the machete and Gareth, like.
Yeah, I know.
And in the Talking Dead, he talked about how like Rick kind of like pumped himself up and put himself in a different space.
Right.
And it reminds me of that documentary
The Shining.
The Shining, yeah. And they show Jack Nicholson where he's like bouncing around the room with that axe.
Yeah.
And like I thought it was one of the scenes where he's going crazy, but then you see like a sound guy walk by and you're like, no, that's just Jack Nicholson getting pumped up for this scene, like and apparently Andrew Lincoln is the
like
same
that,
way.
yeah.
I'm just imagining him like you fuck with my family, and
right.
like the actor that plays Gareth is like in the corner like,
holy shit, this guy's gonna beat the fuck out of me for real. I mean, dude, that was such an intensity, and like at the same time, like what Abraham does, I mean, he's just beating the guy with the stock of his gun.
Yeah.
I mean, that, whatever. I mean, he did that.
Yeah.
But Sasha, she went all freaking crazy. Like just with the dude that
Is Sasha not an odd choice too?
what she was pissed off about Stookie, so
oh yeah, they did want to put her in there because of that.
But I mean, like she had that dude that Tyrese supposedly. I mean, she was just like going to town with that knife on his neck and his head, and I mean,
yeah,
like shanking like crazy, and the other cool part of that scene was you had Glenn, Maggie, and Rosita
just
in the
watching.
background, like with their jaws on the floor, like holy shit, what am I watching? And
Yeah.
I mean,
What
when
do
it
you-
was over, it was like literally pieces of Gareth, and the other people were just beaten to death. And
What do you think that means with Glenn and Maggie? Like, you think that
That's the
any
first time they've
significance?
seen that, Rick. You know, I mean, they did not see what, and I imagine that Rick and or Daryl or Glenn or Carl or whoever, they probably have not said, "Hey, guess what? You know, we were out the other day and Rick bit this dude's neck off," and so I mean, you know,
You're not gonna believe it.
you know, this is probably the first time they've seen, you know, Red Rick.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure it was a shock that, you
Yeah.
know, it was as brutal, and, you know, I don't think I mean, obviously they knew when they left that they were going to kill these people, or they knew that they were coming back and, you know, we're going to ambush these people. I don't think they realized that that's how it was going to go down. I think they probably figured they were going to go in there and just like, you know, shoot them in the head or something like that and just be done with it.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I mean, you know, it didn't seem like the next day that there was like, you know, like a pat on the back. Oh yeah, we'll see you sometime later, Rick. You know, and so I mean, I guess they understand, but I think at the time it was just like probably a total shock to the senses of what was going on. And again, Sasha, it didn't bother. I don't think it bothered Abraham either. I mean,
No.
I think Rosita was probably like the one person that, you know, she was probably
What's up with Rosita and
the other girl
Abraham?
or an Abraham. Yeah, I don't know.
Every time, like it's happened just a few times where like Abraham will say something, then she kind of mutters something under her breath, like
she's a strange character.
yeah.
I mean, they haven't
They haven't developed her like at
at all.
No,
And she's more of like just kind of a person in the background, and
she's an extra
like,
red shirt, basically.
right. I mean, yeah, she's a red shirt.
I just have to think they've kept her this long. I just have to think, and they've kind of done that here and there that they have to answer that question, like what's the deal?
Right. And,
So,
and like, I mean, obviously Abraham's a military guy, and
you would think
Eugene is
maybe he just picked up the sword.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. But
don't
I
know.
mean, she doesn't. I mean, like my question would be, how did those three get together? Because she seems like an odd choice in that.
Yeah.
You know, like in that.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe that's why he wants Glenn and Maggie with him, because, you know, he's like, you know, Laura Croft here may not be the best person to help me get Eugene
Yeah.
to Washington. But yeah, I mean, they dispatch the termites and they're dead 3 episodes into the season.
That's fucking crazy.
It is.
It is so crazy.
And it was an epic scene. I mean, it was probably.
Oh, it was good. It was satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
That's the way I wanted to
It's
see
one
it
of
go
the
out.
best scenes of the show so far.
Yeah, I just can't believe it was in episode 3.
Right.
And whatever this is building to, like whatever's going on with Beth and all this, it better be worth it.
Right.
Like otherwise, I feel like that this whole Terminus thing was just a waste of time.
Right.
And like, I don't want to say that about the show. And hey, I had fun. I mean, I enjoyed the ride.
Right.
But it seems kind of pointless unless this is building to something good.
But on the flip side of that, though, they've done such a good job of one-upping themselves so far in the show that you have to figure that they're not going to.
Oh, even if it is, this will just be the blemish on a show that I
Right.
really like a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just, it's got to be going somewhere good.
mean, like-
and I really feel like it is. I have
Yeah,
faith.
I mean, like this next group, they're not all going to be sitting around a hospital drinking tea and like
They're gonna
taking
get there. They're gonna
blood
be like,
pressure and stuff.
I think they might be eating people, and then they're like trapped in like a room with a bee on it, and then And then the next season they bust out and kill him in 3 episodes, and then we just go to the next one.
Have you ever? There's the Monty Python thing where like the people are just kind of standing around. The dude, like the knight comes in. It's at the beginning of the Holy Grail. The dude's like talking, like doing the documentary.
I don't remember
and the dude
beginning.
and the horse just comes by and like slashes him, and the dude's just standing there. That's me. That's them in the hospital. These people are probably like helping people and doing
I
all
don't
this
remember
good
the
stuff.
beginning of the Holy Grail.
Yeah, they're talking.
The end, they all get arrested.
It's that they get arrested for killing the dude at the beginning of the movie.
I don't remember that at all.
But that's like you get this hospital and these people all doing good, and Beth's there, and then Rick and their group just come in and slaughter everybody and take Beth, and Beth is like, "Dude, these people were doing good.
Yeah, they were cool.
They were cool.
I really liked them.
What the hell?"
Yeah, we had an awesome bridge tournament going. Like I don't.
But so like they kill everybody. Next day, you see we already talked about that scene with Father Gabriel and
In the
Michonne.
porch, yeah.
But you see them loading up the bus. They're getting ready to leave. Abraham comes to Rick and gives the map, and this is our route. When I was watching that, I meant to stop it and see if they went through Anderson.
Oh yeah.
But you figure they went. It looked like they were
They had to
following interstate.
so
they had to go up 85.
They go up
or
85.
something.
Yeah.
So and then there was the little note on the map that said,
Sorry for being an asshole.
sorry for being an asshole. Come to Washington. The world needs Rick Grimes. And so it was kind of like a male bonding thing.
Yeah.
Out there and so
They are going to get back together.
I mean, obviously they're gonna,
I don't think it'll even be this whole season before it happens.
What's weird to me too in that is that the whole plan is that they're going to meet in Washington. It's not like, hey, we're on our way, y'all catch up.
Yeah.
It's, hey, y'all catch up when we're in Washington.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how they leave it.
They kind of have to do that though,
right?
Because otherwise it would just defeat. Because like Abraham and they would all have to stop somewhere and wait.
And wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has to be that way.
And then
something will happen though, where they'll both get stopped at the same place along the way.
Right.
I mean, I figure that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know.
I mean, Alexandria, but like.
Well, there's we've already seen these pictures back before the season even started with the bus.
What was that? What was that?
The scene with the bus is flipping over.
Oh yeah,
the picture, and it's hitting like that SUV, and it's flipping over.
Oh snap! Yeah.
So we know it's something happened. And my guess is that's
the blood-covered fire truck. Remember that?
The blood-covered fire truck.
Yeah.
Obviously that group that has Beth is probably, the one that's flipping the bus, and somehow that's going to bring everybody back together. Is my
I don't know.
Guess.
I think that might be a separate thing. They might really kill him in 3 episodes. Like it might be that they go do the whole Beth and they go do the whole Beth thing for a few episodes, maybe mid-season finale, and then the next season. Oh, but they wouldn't do the bus flip next half of the season. That would definitely be this half.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then there's so they they leave, and then there's the whole we wrapping up the whole Stookie thing as well, which I mean I think that was a good scene. Like obviously they know that they're going to have to do something with Stookie, and that he's going to die soon. So like Rick sits down with Stookie, and Stookie's like, you're a good man. Basically tells him that what he's doing is the right thing, and don't, kind of stray from the path. And that as long as, cause he asked for Judith to stay there with him. And, he's like, as long as you have her, this world is a better place. We can still, whatever, be human, I guess, or whatever. And, that was a pretty good scene. It was kind of weird. I kept wondering what was going to happen, like with Rick sitting there with Judith next to a guy that's getting ready to turn, and like, I don't know. I mean, as somebody who has a kid, I would be like, nah, I'm not going to sit. Like, I'll sit over here.
Yeah.
Something like that. You know,
Just in case.
just in case.
Yeah.
And then of course, you get Sasha and Stookie, and
I thought they dragged out the whole Stookie thing for a little too long.
yeah.
But you had to. I liked the scene with Rick, and then you had to have the scene with Sasha.
And then she's like, you know, he stops breathing and dies. You know, he's saying, when
I can't remember.
he says something.
He says
about,
he had a dream, and she was in it, and she was smiling.
Right.
And then that's the last thing he says.
And you know, she takes out the knife, and then you know, Tyrese comes in, and he's like, you know, I'll do it. And then you know, I kept thinking he's not going to do it. And then, you know, he slips the knife into his temple a little too easily, like sticking it into a watermelon.
Not even, dude. It was
I mean, it's like
like pressing a button.
Right. And then that's the end of Stookie. And then, of course, you get like Tyrese is out there burying the people from Terminus. That was kind of weird, too. And then Rick started joining them, which is even weirder.
I would have just burned them.
That's what I thought, too. I was like, they're either going to just leave them or they're
I wouldn't have left them. Like, how shitty would that be? Like, they leave and Father Gabriel's just got all these dead bodies all over his church.
Did you see the thing about in that? I think it was in that same article where they were showing how they filmed that scene. Did you see that they actually filmed the death scene not in the church?
Oh, really?
Because they thought that scene was so brutal that it was kind of wrong to
Wow.
film it in a church. So they filmed it in like a set.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
But you know, so you know they do that, and then flashes to that night. Michonne's like, you know, keeping watch or whatever, and she hears something. She walks toward the woods, and she draws the sword. She's getting ready to kill whatever it is, and then Daryl comes out. And she's like, "Where's Carol?"
He definitely looks.
He looks around,
troubled,
and then they said something else, and then he goes, "Okay, come on out," and then the show ends.
Yeah.
So then the mystery is who's with Daryl.
Yep.
And obviously it's not Carol. I mean, even if I didn't know,
why would they not show Carol?
Right? Why would Carol not come out?
Why
with
would
Daryl?
that be?
Why would he have to
surprise?
say, "Come on out"? Yeah, it's not like she hadn't seen him. And even knowing what I do know about who it is, I still would have not thought it was Carol. And my thought would have been maybe it was Beth, but
it's too much.
But that would have been too easy, I think, because the time frame between when him and Carol left and that night was like a day.
Yeah. So what people are saying on the internet, and it seems to be accurate, is that it's the Noah character.
The Noah character, which is the kid from Everybody Hates Chris. But I mean, you know,
it still might not be, but it's pretty like.
I mean,
a lot of people are saying that. I mean, it's pretty likely that's what it is.
I would say that's pretty.
Is that
accurate.
all that it is, though? Do you think it's only him?
Well, I mean, I think it is only him, but I've read I've read that part kind of on accident. I didn't mean to find out who it was. I wasn't like going out and saying I'm going to search and find out who it was.
Yeah.
And so once I found out who it was, I was like, well, I'll just keep reading this article. And it gave the whole time frame thing. Like, okay, so this past episode, the episode this Sunday, and then the next episode apparently all take place in the same time frame. So when Rick and them are dealing with the termites, Daryl and Carol are dealing with the people with Beth. And now I don't know how true this part is, other than I know that it is that Noah kid with Daryl, that apparently he is in the hospital with Beth and somehow escapes and hooks up with Daryl. And then somehow Carol is now in the hospital with Beth. But Beth sees her, but Carol doesn't see Beth, kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know how true that is.
Carol will be there.
Yeah, because there's the whole scenes from the pictures and stuff that had the van going over off the bridge and all that. That's
Shit.
apparently
Forgot about all that. Yeah.
That's apparently all related to this, and that Carol gets taken by some ambulance.
That would make sense because remember they filmed that with the dummy Daryl and the dummy Carol
Right.
and that.
So apparently all that's coming up. But
There's the scene. There's the scene where Daryl's carrying that body too in Atlanta. Remember that? Huh.
So yeah, I mean this scene, this next episode, I don't even know if my guess is that Rick and them are not going to be in this next episode at all. It's
Yeah, that
all
makes
going to be
sense, yeah.
Carol, Beth, and whatever.
And then it's going to end where this one ended.
Right. And then there'll be some other and then after that, my guess would be something that would be strictly Beth oriented would be the next episode.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to tie a lot of things together. And then, like I said, I think that these same people are going to be the ones responsible for flipping the bus with Abraham, Eugene, and all them in it. And that's, somehow they're all going to come back together because.
What if the rest of this season, every episode somehow takes place during
the same
time frame? Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Obviously, we're going to get some sort of flashback episode of what happened when Beth got taken. I mean, they have to do that. Oh,
yeah. They have to do that.
So that'll probably be an episode. I mean, what are we at? We're at episode 4, and there's going to be, what, 8? Is it 8 per half season?
I'm not sure. I think there's more than that, right?
I think there might be.
8 might be right. You remember the first season was only 6 episodes.
Yeah, that's the first one, but I think they've gotten up to. I think they've been doing. I don't think they've been. Maybe it was 13 per half season.
13. That seems like a lot.
It's 26 episodes in the whole season with like a 2-month break.
All right, so there's season 2 had 13 episodes, season 3 had 16. Season 4 had 16, and season 5 right now is slated for 16.
So 8 per half. So we're halfway through. So yeah, if you figure you take a Beth flashback, you get this episode with.
It's called Slab Down, by the way.
Yeah, and then there's the whole thing where apparently, they're from that Spoil and Dead site. There's pictures of Carol in Atlanta driving that station wagon that she took when Rick dropped her off. So there's going to be some sort of flashback of what happened to Carol too.
Could that be connected to these people?
Can that be connected to those people too? It has to be. So I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of flashbacks in these next 4 episodes.
Yeah,
and a lot of in the same time frame thing, and then I would imagine that the finale for this half season would be like kind of when all those things come together. And then I assume next half season will be them getting away from whatever it is or battling whoever this is and kind of thing. And I think it's going to be, to top this, I mean, it's got to be pretty epic. I mean, it's got to be.
The mid-season, because that could have been the mid-season finale.
Right? I mean, that could have been, easily that could have been the mid-season finale.
I would have been satisfied with that.
And it's going to be good. I mean, like, I was never a Beth. The whole thing on the farm with her going to commit suicide, I was like, God,
come on.
I was like, this is like, she's such a terrible character.
Yeah.
And now you're just like, where's Beth?
Yeah, I know.
Give me Beth. So okay, obviously next week we'll be able to, discuss how.
Yeah, it's gonna be. So Slab Down is the episode.
And then who the X-Men? That was the last thing.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I didn't.
So
this is still gonna be 2 hours long,
right? I know. I was going to say. So the whole thing when Gareth is talking to Stookie, he says, "We're stupid. We've been marking our way to get back to Terminus.
But for what?
But for what? Because
Yeah.
there's nothing left of Terminus. So then you're like, oh, okay, they must be the ones put the X. But then you got the tree thing with just the one mark. Now, is that their mark? Do they use two different marks?
Yeah.
Or is this somebody totally different?
Yeah.
Why did Morgan look like he recognized the X?
Yeah.
Who
So
are the X-Men?
the X-Men. So like, I don't think that I don't believe that Gareth is the one marking the X's. I don't know who it is, but I don't think it was Gareth, because they show whenever Stooky gets taken at the end of episode 2, they show him make the mark, and it's one notch.
One notch.
It's not an X. I think that the notch is that's Gareth,
Right.
and the X is something completely different, I believe. Now, because here's another problem with it being Gareth, is the group is about to move. We're about to leave the church, presumably.
Right.
I mean, the whole Beth thing's going to go down, and maybe that'll keep them there for a little while.
Well, I was going to say, I think Daryl, the whole reason they stayed was for Daryl and Carol.
Yeah.
And so Daryl's back, and he's going to be like, oh, guess what? Not only did I find Beth, but Carol is being held captive by these people too.
Yeah.
So obviously they're going to leave. I mean, they have to. They're not going to be like, oh, let's just stick around here for a little while longer.
Yeah.
And if it was Gareth and they leave, then the X's are going to end.
Yeah, so
where the hell is Morgan going to go? He's going to get to a point and he's going to be like, well, shit, where do I go from here?
Morgan will follow it back to that school, and then he doesn't know. He doesn't
Right.
know. He's not any wiser where the group is.
Right. And then if he even happens to come across the church and then happens to look at that tree and sees one, axe mark, it's just an axe mark on a tree.
Yeah, exactly. This is a new group now
This
or
is,
something.
you know,
like Morgan following the X's doesn't make
has a reason. Yeah. I mean,
it has a reason. It doesn't make sense if it's Gareth, because what does he follow next now that Gareth's dead?
The thing with Morgan too is, okay, let's assume he's walking down the tracks and he's going to Terminus because he sees the signs, and then he comes across the sign that Rick marks out, and it says no sanctuary, and then he just happens to look over and see the X.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, for me, if that was me, I'm walking down the road and I see an X. Why would I just go, oh, I'm going to follow that X. It's just to be an X on a tree.
Yeah.
I mean, who's saying that that's some mark to follow kind of thing? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, so if I'm Morgan, my first thought isn't going to be like, oh, I'm going to follow this into the woods.
Yeah.
Unless you knew that there were definitely going to be more X marks.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really weird. I think that the X-Man. So there's one theory on the internet that I kind of like the theory, but I mean, it's kind of a reach if this is what it is. If this is what it is, it would be doable. I wouldn't think that it was completely convoluted, but it's kind of a reach. Is that Carl may be leaving the X's.
Right.
And where they get this from is from the episode in season 3, season 4, season 3.
3.
Whenever they go back and they visit Morgan again, Carl sees a map in Morgan's like apartment, room or whatever he's staying in, that has the X's with the circle. And they show Carl looking at it, but they never show Rick looking at it. Not to say he didn't see it, but so they're saying that Carl may recognize that it's something of Morgan's.
So let's say that we were looking at that picture of that map, and there were like all kinds of circles with X's.
Yeah.
So let's say, and I said, well, maybe that's like,
I figured it would be like his traps.
His
Remember, he had like
traps
a
or
billion
something like
traps.
That. But what if maybe that is stuff like houses that he's cleared? So like, I went in this house, I killed all the zombies, I got all the rations, and I put an X on it.
And I fortified it where they couldn't get in.
It couldn't get in. And so he knows that X that he did, and essentially Rick's group just did the exact same thing. They went to Terminus.
Yeah.
They cleared it.
Yeah.
And Carl seeing that on the map, and maybe he knew, maybe there was like an interaction where he's like, yeah, these are the safe houses. And so Carl marks the tree saying this place is now clear.
What if it's like Bad Wolf? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what if it's like it was there all along and they just brought attention to it,
Right.
and we never now we go back and watch and we're like, fuck, there's X's
There's
like at the
X's
prison
everywhere.
and
Right.
there's X's like that'd be crazy.
And like, hey, this place is safe. This place is clear. X.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that one anymore. And
Yeah.
then, you know, if he makes it to the church and they're gone and there's an X on the church,
Yeah.
there you go. Because then you'll know, because we know that Gareth didn't mark the church.
Yeah. I don't know what the X's are. That would be a pretty cool theory.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that. And I might try to go back and look for
Right.
more X's. I haven't seen any on. I researched the X thing on the internet, and I haven't seen anybody else posting that they saw them anywhere else.
Right.
Again, to harken back to what we talked about at the beginning with Andrew Lincoln's beard, you know, maybe his beard shaved because they had to do some flashback scenes
with
Yeah.
him and Morgan talking about stuff. I was trying to think about what he looked like when him, Michonne, and Carl went back. I'm trying to think if he had the beard in that thing. I think he did, but I don't think it was like the long beard. I think he was just scruffy.
Oh, whenever they went back?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have to be after that time period because I don't think he's been doing it like all along.
Right.
Hmm.
I don't know. But, I mean, I definitely think that we will. I don't think that that's the end.
I doubt it's Garrett. I
Of the
mean,
X's. 'Cause
maybe it is.
that
Maybe
would
it
be
is, but
another one
I
of
doubt
those-
it. Yeah.
I mean, even though he says, you know, we marked our way and, you know, it's no point, that's still, again, it's one of those things that seems too convenient. So, yeah, I think, you know, and obviously if they never mention it again, then we'll just be like, oh,
Yeah.
well,
It was wrong. It was
we were
Gareth.
wrong,
Yeah.
But it would seem, again, that would seem one of those things, like we said with Lori's death, it would just be one of those things like,
The Lori's death thing was so set up for like something more, and then they didn't do it.
they didn't do it.
And I thought the same thing about the. I loved the Grove, and I like the conclusion of that story. But I kept because they kept bringing up that we're having these problems with the walkers, you know, bombarding the fence, and we're gonna lose the fence. And
Right.
And then they show the person feeding the zombies, and you're like, shit, someone's like guiding the zombies to the fence.
zombies in,
And then it turns out that this little girl was just doing it by accident.
Right.
Like she wasn't even
'Cause
intentionally.
she was trying to feed the people.
Yeah, and it just seems like they were setting up so much for like there to be like a mole.
Right.
You know, and then there wasn't. So like a lot of times we build mysteries in The Walking Dead where there is none.
Poor Stookie. We had threw him under the bus as being the mole the whole time.
I know, he was all right,
He was
yeah.
a cool dude.
He was fine the whole time.
Right? We kept saying the whole time, okay, it's going to be this time. He's going to turn. He's going to turn.
Yeah, I thought Stookie was out to get him for real.
Right?
I don't know how it turned out he was
And
not.
he was just some lonely dude that finally found a
Yeah.
group that he could be with.
Yeah.
Which that was kind of sad too when like he said that whole thing with Rick, like, you know,
Yeah.
I finally found.
I like that. He said like that he was happy with them and that they were the type of people that bring people in.
Yeah.
And it's we see Rick going back and forth from being that, you know. And I thought that scene was cool because of that. Like
Yeah.
Rick, like there I think that I was trying to think of this before we did the show, and maybe it's something I'll bring up actually for next week, but I think that we're always trying to figure out whether Rick is you know, losing it, or whether he's, you know, right at the top of his game, or whether he's Walter White, or whether he's, you know, noble and just. And we're always trying to figure this out. And I think a lot of who Rick is based on who his mentor is at the time.
Right.
Like whoever is close to Rick, you seem to see that person in Rick.
Right.
You know? And I don't know. Maybe next week we'll look through some episodes and look for that. I don't know,
Yeah,
but it just I don't know. He's a hard one to.
He is a hard one
to figure
definitely.
out. All right. Well, this is wrapping up another 2-hour long episode. We tried to make it shorter. Sorry.
There's so much to talk about.
I hope it was still interesting. To think we used to do this 2 episodes at a time.
I know, right?
That just seems crazy now. Let me find the outro.
The spooky, stooky music. Poor Stookie. Our heart goes out to you, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder, hey, whatever happened with those paintings that were in season 4? Was that just It was just little Easter eggs.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's funny. Thanks for listening. This is Talk the Walk. Oh, wait a minute. You know what it was? Remember, it was it had the rabbits, and it was all to do with the Grove.
Right.
It's been episode 30 of the Talk the Walk. You can find other great shows like this over at Undercast Network. You can also find more of Talk the Walk at talkthewalk.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, on everything.
On everything.
The Walk with an A, not the. The is for chumps.
Chumps.